Hi, everybody. It's me, Curtis Walker, with the Global Scholar of Distinction Program. I have to take this opportunity, I hope, to give you a really, really quality review of the movie Lionheart. So, last time we did our reviews a little bit different, but today I'm hoping that we can do this one with a little actual review of the movie itself, some visual. So, let's see if we can pull that up for you, and then we will go from there. Here we go. Bear with me, and action.
The biggest legacy I will leave for posterity is you, my daughter.
I think you're going to be a very good MD man. My father is still very much alive on you.
You must be a proud father. Of course, I'm immensely proud of my daughter. She's her father's daughter.
Hey, Chief. Chief.
Daddy, what's wrong?
My deepest condolences. Sorry, my best wishes.
The Lionheart will have to soldier on until I get back on my feet. I now name my replacement Chief Godswill.
These reasons have nothing to do with you being a woman. Your uncle is just here to supervise.
I'm going to change a lot of things in this establishment.
So, given our current situation, can you tell us how bad the numbers are?
Bad. Lionheart is in severe debt. 915 million naira.
What?
And now it's time to pay up. In 30 days. Or risk losing everything. If we have to fight this war, we have to fight it together, unless we want to lose.
It is no more a secret that I have an interest in Lionheart.
And if this Igwe Pascal of a man gets a hold of our company, everyone will lose their jobs. And they're all depending on me, and I feel like I'm free.
No!
You're a businesswoman. You've always been able to do anything you put your mind to. Relax, I know what I'm doing. Your father knows what I can do, and that was why he brought me into this.
So that was the review of the movie, and I hope that you actually enjoyed that part of it. So it didn't actually go as smooth as I wanted it to go from the switching screens. But anyway, so this was an interesting movie for me. Let's say the setting is in Nigeria on the continent of Africa. The language is English and Igbo, I believe. The artistry, I am unfamiliar with Nigeria. I am unfamiliar with the towns, the buildings, the cars, the customs that are there. But for a person like me that lives in America that doesn't know any of that, I've never actually had the opportunity to visit Africa. Would love to do that in the future. I think that it seems really, really realistic. The culture obviously is African. The genre is drama. And the directing, I would say that it was done really, really well. I can't compare it to our Hollywood because I think they call it Nollywood, but I believe it was done well. And it premiered at the 2018 Toronto International Film Festival. So the plot is a very interesting one. It's about a story of a family, and the chief's name is Ernest. And I'm probably going to not do the justice to the names, so bear with me. Ernest Obiagu and his daughter, who actually played. Let me say it the right way. The person that played his daughter was actually the director of the film, who steps up to run a company in a male-dominated society. They own a bus company that is seeking a contract to expand, but the father becomes ill, which you saw a little bit of that in the video preview. And his daughter and brother, who is our uncle, must try to save the company from a hostile takeover from a business person named Igwe Pascal. So I'm going to dispense with the names because I'm probably not doing them justice. And you could probably read some reviews online, Rotten Tomatoes, or whatever the case would be. So let's do away with the format this time because this is a film made in Africa, in Nigeria, obviously. And I probably can't do it enough justice. So let's just get right to it. So I think it's a heartwarming film. The main actress, obviously, is also the director. I especially like the beginning when the main character, Ada Ezu Obiagu, comes out to stop this sort of gang. They come where the buses are coming in and they're bringing passengers, and these ruffians, kind of thuggish people come and they're beating people, and no one dies or anything like that. So then a girl goes inside, ma'am, they're disturbing the customers, and she comes out and she gives them this speech and said, you guys are our countrymen. What are you doing? What do you think? And because they want money, she says, we'll give you the money, but what you're doing is not right because you're hurting everyone. And so the guys, they say, stand down, and they walk away. And that showed her immediate leadership ability and her ability to calm the situation and to think on her feet. Remember, this is Africa, and this is the country Nigeria, and it really is a male-dominated region. So I thought that was like the first thing that jumped off the page. So then they have a meeting, which is one of the next scenes. And then at this meeting, her father falls ill after the meeting. And so now she's thrust into the leadership, her and her uncle, who is the brother, which you saw a little bit of that in the preview as well. Now, the protagonist, I think I want to say that right, and his ally are waiting in the wings to pounce on the situation because they realize the father is sick. The company, as you saw a little bit in the preview, is in financial distress, and he wants to take control of the company as well as the routes, because there are 300 buses that they own, and these routes take people to all different parts of the country. Now this guy wants to come in and he wants to get control of that company and sort of become a monopoly. And it gets a little interesting then. So they go to a loan office. I'm not saying all of them. I don't think I could probably say it all. And the uncle is talking to the government loan officer, and he's saying, whatever the price is, why don't we dispense with this? Everybody knows that there is a price. And the guy says, a price? Are you trying to bribe me? He says, you know what I mean, right? And the girl's sitting there and she's looking, and so then the guy says, price? You mean my price? It's a funny part of the movie, in my opinion. And he goes, yes, your price. And he goes, her. And I was like, what? It kind of, you didn't expect that to come. He goes, her. She is looking pretty good. And so then he punches her in the face. And the next scene is that they're both in prison, locked up. And while they're in prison, there's this meeting going on with the board of directors. And guess who's at this meeting? The protagonist, who's there to, come in and tell people what a great man that he is and how he wants to do great by the business and all of this stuff. Which you saw a little bit of that when he said, my condolences. But the guy had not died yet. And then he said, oh, no, not my condolences. I wish him well. So after that, when this meeting is coming on, her assistant and someone else come to the prison to let them know. And so they said, you must get out. And then she's like, what can we do? Name your price. And then the uncle looks at her and goes, what? And she goes, no, not that price, not that price. But anyway, so her assistants and her switch, so she's allowed to come into the meeting. When she gets into the meeting, she sees Igua. I'm probably, not doing the name justice. And the other guy who actually worked for her father, but sees that her father is in distress. And now he's trying to do a kind of like a backstabbing deal of Benedict Arnold with the protagonist, Igwe. And so he's trying to persuade the board of directors not to listen to her or her father anymore, but to give control to the outsider. So after this, she makes a passionate plea to the board. And so the Igwe guy, he says that, all right, well, you have 10 days to take my offer. And so she makes a passionate plea to the board, and the board members go, obviously they didn't tell them what type of financial condition the company was in, and the board members were a little upset behind that. But the business was built on honor and trust and all of the great moral values that her father instilled, the chief Obiagu. And she wanted to let them know that if this other person come in and buys this company, then the company will no longer be as it is. And so they said, well, he said 10 days. Well, we'll give you 10 days to fix everything up, and we can go on from there. So they've kind of run out of ideas, and they're like, well, what are we going to get the money from? We can't get the loan. So she says, I know a guy. And then she goes to this guy's house, a friend, someone that she used to date, and he's playing the piano. And, it's like, singing. And she starts singing, and he sings, and he turns around like, oh, Genevieve, Adieze. I'm terrible with the names because they're very difficult. Anyway, and so she's like, hey, how you doing? So he sits down and she explains to him her situation, that she needs to borrow some money. And he says, I will give you 500 million. And she goes, what? And he says, yes, no problem. Anything I will do for that. At the meantime, obviously, he wants to have some a romantic moment, so to speak. And at the same time, in this kind of villa hotelish place where this guy that has a lot of money stays, the uncle follows a girl. He goes into this basement. He overhears a conversation with two scammers trying to scam a businessman out of some money, and he tells the guy, get up and get out of here if you fear for your life. And then the scammers get upset because he spoils their plan, and the girl is coming back from the meeting with the other guy that had the money, and probably getting a little confused, probably confusing a little bit, but anyway, and her and her uncle, they leave. So after her uncle leave, it gets to the next part where she goes and have a conversation with her dad, and then her mom tells her that, you've always been a leader, and that, you wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't meant to be. Now, the dad does not want to give control of his business up, right? And now he's getting a little better. So they're still trying to figure out what to do. It's a situation, where they don't have the finances, and then they decide that they will go somewhere else and try to make a deal with someone else. So while they're going to this other location, just remember the person that the uncle saved. They get to, I think it's like an airport or a station, and guess who's there? This guy. And he says, where are you guys going? He goes, oh, I'm going over to Mykono buses. We're going to try and make a deal with Mykono buses. And he goes, oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, why don't you come with me? And she goes, oh, all right, well, so forth and so on. And he goes, and then the guy says, well, have you ever met him? And she goes, no. And he said, well, let me introduce myself. And guess who he happens to be? The son of the owner of the big business, Mykono. And she says, no, come with me, stay with me. So the uncle and her ride with him back to the place. Just, one of those things, coincidence. He actually saved this guy a lot of money, and there were people trying to scam him, and they actually meet. So she goes in and talks to the father of the big business, Mykono, and gives her spiel. And then the father goes, okay, well, is that all you have? And then she gives a passionate sort of speech about how her father built the business with good values, character, strength, trust, loyalty, and all the good qualities. And then he goes, you truly are your father's daughter. So then the father and the Mykono meet, and they started talking. And then the conversation really turns when the Mykono guy says something in a different language, and then the father answers him in that language. He goes, oh, you speak that? And he goes, yeah, I was born, so forth and so on. And then they hit it off, and they become sort of good friends. And that is the key moment in the film where the deal is struck between two entities in order to save the company. So they get back to the board meeting a few days later as time winds down, and the Igwe Pascal guy is there, and he's ready to swoop in, and the board's going to give him the control of the company. And then the chief goes in and says, you have not so fast. This guy is no good. And, a couple insults are thrown. And then he says, well, you don't have the money anyway, so you can't stop it. And he goes, not so fast. And then the Mykono guy comes in, and they introduce him. And, basically, it saves the day. So that Igwe guy has to get up, and he has to leave out. And then the father talks to the board, and the board approves the two mergers of the companies. And at that point, the father then says, that I no longer am going to be the chief executive officer of the company, but now the chief executive officer of this company will be my daughter. And she has come from a position where she was working for her dad, and then when he gets sick, kind of controlling the business, and her dad realizes that, the perfect person to run the business is her. And the board approves of it, and she sits in the chair. And that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. Obviously, there's a couple, the denouement after that. They probably will be asking, do her and the Maikano son get together? Well, we don't know. Maybe there's going to be a part 2. But anyway, I thought this movie was really great. It's definitely family friendly. There is no nudity. There are no cursing words or words of curses. I don't know exactly how to say it because I don't curse. In the movie, no overtly sexual behavior. So I think this is a great movie for family and friends. The kids will probably enjoy it. There are great lessons in there about determination, leadership, trust, loyalty, truthfulness, transparency. So these are all really good things that you can learn in this movie. And most importantly, family sticks out in there, how their family stuck together through the trials and tribulations, and they seem to have found a way. So I think this is a really good movie. I would watch it again. I recommend watching it, and I hope that you enjoyed this review. Again, I cannot do the names justice, but I tried. So that's all I have for you. And yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching me again. Thank you for the opportunity to do this review, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, bye everybody.